All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to some more tournament coverage here on ToothandTailTV. Let me give Mr. Jet Erickson a call. We got a little surprise guest here today. Really excited to cast a Jet. Old school guy. Nowadays, probably not as well known. I'm gonna turn down the music a little bit. It's a bit loud in my face here. There we go. Should be a little better. Okay. Let me get Jet on the line. Mr. Jet Erickson, how we doing?
Oh, hello there. Oh, it's been so long since I've been sitting here in this very situation.
I know. I was just searching on my YouTube channel for Jet, and let's see, 3 years ago. And if you guys want to know how old school Jet is, I have a video of me and Jet casting together 6 years ago. Crazy.
Indeed, I may not have the newest of new knowledge, but I'll hope that Delphius covers us on that point.
Yeah, I mean, Tooth and Tail's like riding a bike. I think you'll get back into it pretty quickly. So, how have you been, man? You said you've been kind of. I noticed the last couple events you've been poking your head in a little bit, being a little curious about casting again. So I'm glad you joined me on this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been kind of stalking you all from afar, waiting for my chance to pounce, and here it is, right?
So we were bantering a little bit during sound check, and I wanted to warn you about the new units. And apparently you are well aware about the new units. Tell the class a little bit of history about these things. I guess they've been in the making for a while, huh?
Yeah, they have in fact been, because I was there's actually when they were first being tested, I got to do some of the first modding with it that Elam gave us all the things for, and I was like talking to a lot about to Elam back in the days about all the balance things and how to do this and that. Of course, Elam was the one making the things. I didn't really influence the design itself that much, but it was really fun to just test with and find out the different things there, and yeah, it was a great time. In fact, there was also supposed to be a tier 3 unit.
The raccoon was? I think I do remember that, yeah. So where you were asking me where the cookie kind of crumbled on him. So the raccoon is a tier 2, and it's pretty fun. It kind of, like, as a fox player, I like it a little bit because it just, you can kind of micro with it. You can shoot, stutter step, that kind of stuff. It kind of gets beat down. It's weird. I feel like it's a tier 2 that's kind of good against, like, kind of good in mass, or like they get beat down by chameleons, which are pretty popular this patch. So we might see some raccoon players' hopes and dreams get crumbled by those chameleons. But other than that, I really like it. I've been rushing raccoon in quite a few games, and I'm not saying it's the best thing to do. It's probably not, but it's fun, and I enjoy the playstyle of it. And then yeah, they get a little bit of food when they're outside your territory. That still comes in. I don't know what the rate is. It's not that much. If I had to guess, maybe like 25% of a pig, if that. It's not super noticeable. It's nice if you have a bunch of raccoons like in the mid game, and then you just make sure like, oh, let me take my 6 or 8 raccoons and move them outside of my territory, get a little extra food, right?
Of course. Here I can also just be old and go, back in my day, the raccoons used to eat your own food.
Yeah. See, that kind of makes sense. Like, imagine if they were really powerful, but then they kind of kept eating your food. Yeah.
Well, they also gave food, but like they'd have to be outside your territory. But if they were inside your own territory, they ate your food.
Interesting. I like that, actually. That's cool. I don't think they're strong enough in their modern form to really warrant that.
Justified, no?
Yeah. I was thinking about the other day, like how I feel like they're a little bit underwhelming in my opinion, if I'm being honest. I love playing with them, but I think you're a little bit better off just going for traditional tier 2 like cams or falcons or snakes. But I wish if I had to buff them, I would want to give them a slight speed boost, which I know is kind of weird in Tooth and Tail because it's either you have like, was it swift or agile, whatever it's called, or you don't. There's not really nuance in like movement speed.
Exactly. That has been a lacking thing.
Yeah. So I feel like if they were just a little bit faster, like not quite lizard fast, but if they were just a little teeny tiny bit faster, I think they would be really fun, really strong. That way they could micro stutter step a little bit better. Okay, yeah, so that's the raccoon, and then the other unit is the crow.
Ah,
So,
yes, the crow.
what was the design of the crow back in the day in the initial phases?
I mean, in the initial phases back from when I earliest known it, had it known, it was basically just a melee flying unit
Yeah,
that was used as a new T1 with two things in mind. It needed to not die to skunks, which they don't because they can't be hit by them. And the other thing that I like to use them for in my comms was to try and snipe toads with them, because you could, like, they have a lot of damage when they start swarming around something. So I
yeah,
would just put a wall of them on top of the enemy toads so they would never reach
yep.
my lizards. And I kind of was a fun game plan to do back in the day, but I don't know how that works now, actually.
So it doesn't sound like the crows have changed very much. Yeah, they're still just like a flying melee tier 1, and what I've seen from crow players is it's kind of like a late game tier 1 in a way. Like, you don't really build crows until you can build like 30 of them, and then it's just a lot. But to your point, like boar and skunk and that kind of stuff is still just as popular as ever. So crows are a good way to, be able to. It always sucks, like, against an enemy boar push, and they have a lot of tier 1, and you're like, well, crap, I can't build tier 1 because the boar will just kill it all, right? So I think crow does kind of slot into that a little bit more. I feel like crow is probably more competitive than raccoon. It's hard to say. I really like the raccoon a lot. I feel biased. I feel like raccoon is such a Delthius unit because it's also like the fox, where I know the fox isn't that great, but I just like to play with it. I feel like raccoon is kind of in that category as well.
But I know you're not the only player that's like that, because I'm just looking at the replay list now. I know we're gonna be seeing Lego Man play, and he always brings snakes every single time.
Yep, we'll see if that
So-
we'll see if that adage holds true. So yeah, we got.
It's been 3 years, and I assume that snake thing hasn't changed.
So we're gonna cast 5 games today. We're gonna start off with a couple open division matches. So if anybody's kind of new to the tournament here, maybe I'll leave this in as like the tournament introduction video. Basically, there's a group stage, there's an open and a competitive league, and both ones work the same way. Basically, everybody got split into groups, and then you round robin, which means that you play everybody else in your group one time in best of 3s. And yeah, we tally up the scores, and then after that, I think like the top 2 people advance from each group, and then we go to a single elimination style event. So big shout out to QQ. He's the one who is piloting this season and keeping Tooth and Tail alive and keeping the tournament scene going. So thanks to QQ. Also, Evil Murloc has been casting a ton of replays. So if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch and you want to see more games, check out Evil Murloc. Him and QQ have been covering a ton this season. All right, without any further ado, Mr. Erickson, are you ready to hop into our first match here?
Heck yeah, you just tell me which one.
Yeah, we will try
one?
Hyilix versus Chesire. We'll start off with this one. Are you ready?
Oh, hold on. Hyilix versus Cheshire?
Yep.
Wait, why is that not on my list here?
Uh-oh. Did I not send it to you? Let me see.
Oh no, it's just that it's just unlike the others. After you unzip the zip.
Oh yeah, they put it in a folder. Yeah. I did.
Okay, don't worry, I got it.
All right,
I am prepared.
Are you ready?
Yes. Sir.
All right, I'll count down and then I'll say 3, 2, 1, go. So 3, 2, 1, go. There we go.
In the right side, playing Hopper, we have Hyilix.
And over on the left, Chesire Saxophone as a quartermaster.
Oh, I haven't said that in 3 years.
I love Hylix's deck. All right, so this is open division, and so it's just a little bit more casual. I love that we do that with our tournaments, by the way. We kind of have the competitive league where you got all the sweaty tryhards, people that play StarCraft and stuff like that, and then we have the open division where we encourage viewers like you to have some fun with us and play some games of Tooth and Tail, and that's what we got going on here today. So I love Hylix's deck. I was talking about Raccoon, Fox are kind of similar units. Like, I don't think it's the best deck in the world, but me personally, I just love that kind of pokey play style with the balloons, with the ferrets. And Chesire seems to have more of a robust build. I think Chesire's definitely got the better deck on paper.
Yeah, I still have the good old where the squirrel's at thing to talk about. But, I'm packing the sweaty tryhard away for a second.
Well, yeah, I mean, to your point, Chesire not running squirrels, that is very unusual. Even today. And by the way, do you remember Chesire saxophone? They've been around the scene for a long time.
Oh, it seems like I remember the name ever so slightly, but they have not made enough of an impact on me. So.
Right.
Sorry, buddy.
So, yeah, to your point, no squirrels is really weird. Cheshire Saxophone's going to try to leverage crows instead. And Hyilix is not going to be happy about that because Hyilix is packing those skunks to deal with Tier 1, and they're not going to do anything against the crow.
Yeah, I feel like skunks are just a... I mean, skunks could maybe see play against the owl later, but I don't... If we get to the point where owls start flooding the arena, I already think Cheshire is winning the game.
Oh,
so
100%.
That's very little... That's little to do with the owl anyway, so I don't think we'll be seeing any skunks this match here at all.
Yeah, and Hyilix has other plans, but that's a very good point. If we get to the late game, Chesire's deck is much, much better, but I think Hyilix has a really fun early to mid-game kind of timing attack style deck here. You know, the raccoons can poke, as we were talking about a little bit in the pregame banter, the ferrets. The Fox could come in and do a ton of work against like Falcons, but we'll have to see. Balloon going up already for Chesire, so getting a little defensive here. Meanwhile, Hyilix is just pumping out farms on that second base.
Balloon is also a really good choice against Hyilix's deck because it prevents both the raccoons and the Fox from really getting work done on Chesire's side of the field, which is a huge benefit.
Yeah, and balloons are not really common in today's meta, so if I'm Hyilix, I am so frustrated to see that balloon, because that balloon just destroys like almost everything in Hyilix's deck, so that is tough.
It's a big shutdown,
yeah.
At least raccoons do have the ability to shoot the balloon, right?
Yeah, the raccoon can shoot up, so that is nice. So we got a good 16 farm game here, and overall, I mean, both players playing pretty well.
Oh, Chesire is making the riskiest play, the play of the century here, going for the owl already.
Yeah, and let's see, Hyilix needs to scout this and understand what's going on. I feel like that's one of the hardest things about Tooth and Tail is like tier 3 timings. You know, it's always really bad when you get caught with your pants down against a tier 3 and, you know, don't know what's coming. But Hyilix does put down their own Fox, but, I mean, with the tier 3 rock, paper, scissors, Owl definitely beats Fox every day of the week, so...
True. I am very worried for Hyilix here. Their deck in this circumstance against Chesire really speaks to a playstyle of going in early and being the aggressor, and Chesire not having to deal that just allows Chesire to build up, well, 2 owls now.
Yeah.
Which is going to be very dangerous against Hyilix's deck.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, Hyilix, with this deck, needed to be kind of the one dictating the tempo, trying to make some plays, being out and about, and... You know, I don't think Hyilix is going to benefit from this macro game. Cheshire Saxophone is, you know, it reminds me of old school StarCraft, no rush 20. You know, Cheshire is totally fine with a no rush 20 game. You know, let me sit back, let me build up, as Tatanka says in the chat, the bird tribal deck here. Every bird in Tooth and Tail. So, yeah, this is looking rough for Hyilix. I mean, overall, they're playing a good game, but I just don't think their army comp's going to do that great once the Owls hit the field.
Yeah, I sorry. Decent gameplay is most certainly happening. I just don't think this is the deck to play this kind of style with.
Right. Yeah, Hyilix doesn't have like a Badger or Chameleon, like anything that really scales in late game. We'll see though. Raccoons in the late game actually are pretty strong once you get a nice, you know, group of them together. And Hyilix is going for a backstab here. This is very all in. There's no retreating.
Yeah. I don't like this play here for Hyilix, mostly because the water is so dangerous and the balloons here give so much vision that you can't really sneak around them.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good point. If we look at Chesire's vision, you know, Chesire sees everything, and Hyilix is gonna pull back, gonna get up to the third base. I like this. Yeah, needs to start pumping out the skunks. Yeah, and kind of transition to like a skunk raccoon army, and you know what? Maybe that will do okay, but 4 owls on the way here for Chesire.
The skunks still. We talked about this earlier, but there's nothing for those skunks to aim at. There's only birds.
Yeah. They'll be good against the mice, but you really need pigeons here for Hyilix. Like, if you have skunk pigeon, you can actually do really well against the armies of free mice. But without the pigeons, I think those free mice from the owls will eventually kill the skunks. So let's see. Hyilix does have a really good economy, though. Straight up to third base saturation. Trying to find an opening here. Is Hyilix on the map? And some mice come in, but they'll be quickly thwarted. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Maybe if Hyilix just keeps building raccoons, keeps building skunks, you know, this could be a good late game.
I have to admit I'm not very confident in this one here, especially not if we go up to a count of 4 owls. Then I think that would be the final nail in the coffin here.
Yeah.
Chesire goes in with the mice here. But Chesire stays for just a little bit.
Ooh, one
Not
raccoon.
too much though.
Yeah, a couple raccoons start falling. Those falcons are really starting to get the work done. But yeah, holds on pretty well against those mice. Loses a few tier 2. But the thing is, that happens over and over and over again, and eventually, you know, you're not going to have money for any more raccoons. I think...
Yeah, and I think the most telling thing here is if you look at the army graph value, the army value for Chesire almost didn't change at all during that fight. But if you look at the one for Hyilix's, it just dropped sharply instead.
Yep. Yeah, and Owl Falcon has always been one of the best late-game scaling compositions in Tooth and Tail. So Hyilix really is going really heavy on the squirrels, which could work maybe, but it's very all-in because the mice are just going to trade with the squirrels so effectively. Yeah, look at that. The army getting run over here. And again, I think Hyilix played a good game. Ooh, maybe gets an owl. Nope, not quite. The fox is great against falcons, but yeah, I don't think Hyilix can take this kind of punishment for too much longer.
Nope. I think Chesire is also overstaying their welcome here, which, if you look at the army graphs again here, we got to the point where Chesire's army graph is also going down, which is not what you want when you're an owl player. You kind of want to leave when your mouse might start spinning out so that you can prepare again for the next win.
Yep. Yeah, this is a really hard counter for Hylix's deck, unfortunately. I think they played a great game, but, you know, seeing the balloon, I think would have tilted me. I've been like, who plays balloon? You know, and that's like so good against this whole deck. And really, you know, we talked about Hyilix not being aggressive, but it probably was because those balloons, right? Like, that just was like, okay, I guess I'll die, like, as the ferret player, you know?
Yeah, I imagine that you see the balloons and you're kind of scared of going in on them. But again, with a squirrel-raccoon composition, you should be able to break in and shoot at them, given that raccoons can shoot up and should deal some good damage to them.
I agree.
So, I still believe the answer to this fight here was definitely having more aggression.
Yeah, the answer to this fight was not letting this fight happen in the first place.
Exactly.
So, Chesire does lose the commander, but gonna go in, and this will probably be it here. Let's see if Hyilix wants to stick it out any longer. But sweeping the army again, you know, basically for free. Again, looking at that army graph. Let's see.
It's a sharp decline for Hyilix and a much, much smaller one for Chesire that replenishes their army again for free with the mice. Goes in here again and just gets more value and then leaves immediately.
Yep.
Hopefully.
Once the fox dies, that'll probably be it. Yeah, actually didn't really wait long enough for the mice to recharge, but it's not gonna matter.
They already got everything they needed to. They're gonna go in and take the last mill here. Oh wait, there's one more.
Hyilix is gonna do the Tooth and Tail version of floating your barracks off to the edge of the map here and fight to the last breath. It is a tournament match, but there's no coming back from this.
Yeah, there is no coming back.
Actually, let's kick it into ×5 here, as this one is gonna be wrapping up here shortly. So I'm curious if Hyilix is gonna change up their deck. It's always weird because you don't want to trying to do a little counterattack here, but yeah, that's gonna be it. Like, you don't want to overcorrect, but because you never know if the opponent changes the deck either. But you know, I really feel like Chesire's composition in that game really just told the story.
I do want to warn you all, if you're in Chesire's situation here of having to chase down that last mill, and you're taking out mills around the map and searching for their last mills to take out, buy the mills you destroy. This prevents them from rebuilding them again, but it also prevents you from being base rushed.
Yep.
Which which you see Hyilix right there at the very end to just sneak behind and take all the mills.
Yep, I won a tournament game this season doing exactly that, Jet. When somebody was going to finish me off, I snuck in and stole the win from them. So that does happen. All right, you ready for game 2?
Damn right I am.
Let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, go.
In the left side of the map, we have Chesire Saxophone.
And over on the right, Hyilix. And look at these comps. They share 4 units in common. So both players changing it up very drastically here.
It is. I mean, we do see a lot of the same theme from Hyilix here and running Squirrel and then a bunch of T2 like they did the last game as well. But other than that, the T2 they've picked are mostly different with the exception of the Skunk.
Oh, a little bit of Mole Rush out of Chesire here. Hyilix does sniff it out, though. So, and actually overreacts a little bit, but that's okay. Better safe than sorry. So good play here. Yeah,
I think they're pretty much even here.
Yeah,
no one's lost anything or anything. Yeah, so.
Yep. So moles are a little different than the last time you were playing. Do you know how they work nowadays?
Is it the Warren that takes damage and then?
Yeah, the Warren takes damage every time it builds a mole. Moles actually got nerfed on this mod patch. They only deal 1 damage to units, but they still hit structures like a brick. So we've seen less like kind of mole play this season so far. But I still think that there's a strong option if you really want to punish a greedy player with like a timing attack or that sort of thing. Oh, also on this patch, you can burrow to a Mole Warren out on the map.
Ooh, I like that as a fun change. That does enable you to go back, check on your economy, and then really quickly be back in the action again.
Exactly. So 8 farm single, 8 farm double from Chesire. Pretty standard stuff. 8 farm double from both sides. No tier 2 for Hyilix. I like that a lot. I think tier 2 openers right now are very strong. It's hard to punish it. So, you know, unless the opponent is just building nothing but tier 1, you're pretty safe to go for a tier 2 opener.
I do feel like if an early fight is to happen between them when their tier 2 comes out, that Chesire here is in a better situation, mostly because I believe that I personally believe, I have yet to see it, of course, that Squirrel Raccoon should probably beat Squirrel Skunk with only 6 squirrels on each side.
Yeah, I would think so. 2 raccoons hit pretty hard. I think, I could be wrong, correct me in the chat if anybody knows off the top of their head, but I think 2 raccoons is enough to kill a squirrel if they both shoot it. So that's pretty nice. Turrets from both sides as well. I think turrets have become a little bit more popular this season since moles are a little bit out of vogue. Raccoon walking up now. Chesire looking to get aggressive.
See that fight.
Gonna pull back. Yeah, it doesn't really need the turret, but it is a nice spot to fall back to, I suppose. Some snakes on the way as well. And
what I would personally like to see from Chesire here is that they've seen the army count from Hyilix here. They know they have the advantage on the map. I would personally like to see them grab a bit more of a forward mill so they can put more forward pressure on.
Yep. And mills nowadays start with like really low HP and build up HP over time.
Oh, don't worry. I was there for that change.
Okay. All right, so a little bit of pressure coming out of Hyilix here. He might be biting off more than he can chew, though. Chesire's army looks really good as he moves forward. And snake poison coming down, but not quite. Oh, gets the raccoon. That's pretty good.
I think this does seem like a fight that Hyilix is going to live. Oh, the snake poison on 2 squirrels there. That's very nice.
Yeah.
It's a mostly even fight, I believe, here. I think one mistake that Chesire made here was walking their squirrels through the gas.
Yeah.
I think the correct play would have just to walk only the raccoons forward and counterpoke the skunks with your raccoons.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Hyilix lost that fight just ever so slightly, but it's okay. It was close enough engagement. So Hyilix going to come in and probably try to poke down some of these squirrels. This is a lot of squirrels coming out of Chesire, especially knowing that your opponent has skunks.
I'm actually... Oh, yeah, see, now they're doing the thing here with the raccoon pulling forward, but I'm not a fan of this spot here for Chesire. It's too much of a choke point, which just benefits the skunk player here, so...
Yeah.
I think you need to push a little bit more forward and be in more open territory so you can take on the skunk more easily.
Yeah, second base coming out for both players here. We are closing in on that 5-minute mark where you lose all your starting pigs. So economies need to continue, or we're going to get into a scrappy game, which sometimes are some of the most fun ones.
Oh, I've had my fair share of fun scrappy games. I'm a fan personally.
All right, so we're at a little bit of a standstill. Maybe a turret comes out from Hyilix. Kind of makes sense. And yeah, maybe we're just going to kind of go into a mid-game, farm up a little bit, and kind of play the who throws down the wolf first game here.
Indeed. Personally, I would have liked to see Chesire actually do exactly what Hyilix is doing here in the same location.
Yeah.
And have MG'd off that pass.
Oh.
I think that would have been a good play.
Oh, man. Chesire, I love this move out.
Base trade. We got a good old classic base trade.
Oh, Hyilix did come back.
In first.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I agree with Chesire being aggressive here. He's got so many squirrels. Like, go use them, you know? Oh, he's back in the corner. He's trying to take out all the infrastructure here from Hyilix. But if Hyilix just sweeps this army, that's going to be huge. All the skunk gas absolutely annihilating the squirrels here. But Chesire gets a little bit of value out of that trade, but he does so much damage to Hylix's base.
Hyilix has to attack now. Like, Hyilix gets to have a big army advantage because he just took out Chesire's army, but Hyilix needs to make it count.
Yeah, absolutely. Hyilix, I would sell those turrets and I would go full throttle. Hyilix hesitating a little bit, trying to get the pre-skunk gas going. And the one nice thing about Chesire's army comp is that since it is all tier 1, they do rebuild very, very quickly. But just getting hammered by the skunk gas, man.
Indeed, the counterattack is going to be strong here, and I think this might be a difficult situation. I think Hyilix should have sold those turrets, yeah? Because, again, they're missing the money for their reinforcements now.
Yeah, it doesn't have any warrants either is the thing. Like, reinforcements from where, Jet? There's no warrants.
Oh, boy, you're correct.
But the counterattack gets it done. That was a fun fight. Good game. I think if Chesire didn't commit as hard with that attack, he might have been able to win. Because he had a really strong army there. But he kind of traded his army for base damage.
Indeed.
Which
I think if you want to be really nerdy about it, the correct play would have been to engage with your army, except for your free moles, and then micro the moles onto the Warren.
Oh yeah. Or even better, like engage main and then like sneak the moles over, you know. Like if the armies were in a different spot and then you have to deal with the moles. We should see more of that. That would be fun. We don't see too many like split pushes, but there definitely are players who do it.
Indeed. Moles really open up for that kind of stuff, but now it is a one-to-one.
Yeah, and I noticed that there's 5 replays here. There should only be 3, but I guess since they played the games, we will watch them. But are you ready for game number 3?
I am ready indeed.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
In the right corner, we have Hyilix.
And in the bottom left, Chesire. So this time around, rocking the boar is Hyilix. And I think it's going to be pretty strong against Chesire's composition. Let's see if we get a good old-fashioned boar push this game.
Indeed, I believe a board push could definitely put some work in here. There's not really any snakes for the board to especially be worried about. There is the Falcons, of course, but I believe that with some good Raccoon support, you could definitely get some anti-air going that way.
Yeah, and Chesire, again, trying to be a mole rusher. Let's see. Ooh, that Warren's not in a good spot. Uh-oh.
Chesire really being a menace to society right about now.
Yeah, I think if you have all 3 moles, you can attack the pig. Let's see. I don't think 2 is enough, but the squirrels are going to be here in time. Let's find out.
Yeah, you really need 2 damage to make that happen.
Yeah, you
that
see,
isn't happening with a 1 damage mole.
Yeah, they're just doing nothing nowadays to units. So a little bit of a blundered mole rush, I should say, but Hyilix didn't handle it super perfectly either. So I think both sides kind of, should be fine.
I do want to see Hyilix. Maybe Hyilix doesn't know where the opponent even is. That is an option. No, Hyilix definitely knows. I would have loved to have seen those 2 squirrels go look for an opportunity, knowing that Chesire was small rushing and not building army at home.
Somebody in chat asking, is open best of 5. Maybe it is. I'm not 100% sure. According to the announcements, I believe it was just best of 3. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it is best of 5 because both players did play best of 5. So, oh yeah, you're right. For baby bracket to do best of 5s. So okay, thank you, guy in the chat. And we got an expansion coming on here for Hyilix.
I really want to talk about this map for a second because I think it's very unfortunate for Chesire actually. Mostly because with Hyilix having taken this mill here and having a nice fortified position, some shenanigans with balloon vision and then hitting over the walls to the 2 mills down there could potentially happen.
Yeah, and look how far that territory goes. Like, it's right next to that northern mill from where Chesire just took one, you know? Like, you can actually build a balloon all the way down there if you want to be offensive. Or on this little bit of high ground terrain next to the cabin on the left side of the map. So,
Indeed.
You could really use balloons to their full potential on this one for sure.
Indeed. I would love to see a balloon come up, and I would love to see a raccoon just go down south and start poking at those mills.
Alright, so far, I think Hyilix is in a bit of a better spot, but they're very even. And I mostly am just saying that because they got their second base up ever so slightly faster. And this is going to turn into a big fat mid game. Nobody's really pulling the trigger on aggression.
Nope, we're having a nice chill game of just no rush till 20, right?
And yeah, no rush 20. But here's that Big Daddy Boar, so maybe that's going to change. Now, Chesire really, really needs to scout this. This is one of the big things with Tooth and Tail is, you know, tier 3 units are just so strong and so impactful, and you cannot fall behind on tier 3. Now, luckily for Chesire, they just decided to kind of throw down their own tier 3 anyways, so maybe they'll be okay.
I don't think the wolf is going to be enough here. You kind of have to have something to combine the wolf with, and wolf squirrel against boar is not a winning matchup.
Yeah, I agree. Chesire, especially against boar, like really needs to understand the boar push is coming, and I think like wolf, skunk, falcon would do just fine against, you know, the boar in a lot of tier 1. But to your point, I mean, Chesire just doesn't have. They have the right tools in the toolkit, but they just don't have the right comp here. This is a very important scout for Chesire. They really need to find that boar. Let's see if they do. Oh no! Oh my God!
Oh, the tragedy! I just barely miss seeing it. That is unfortunate.
It's so sad.
Indeed, and this could be very impactful because the way you would deal with boar here with Chesire's deck is probably just sell some of your squirrels and go for 2 falcon warrants.
Yeah, I think if you go like double skunk, try to get up as many falcons as you can. Just, you know, maybe have a few squirrels just to soak some damage, but. Yeah, Chesire definitely has, you know, the composition in the deck to deal with the boar, just not on the ground right here, right now. And the boar is coming to town. He's ready to rock and roll.
Oh boy. Well, let's see if Hyilix decides to make something out of it. The MG is definitely not going to be stopping that boar. That's for sure.
No, yeah, and to your point, like, most of the time, boar is a timing attack tier 3. So right when it gets built, you generally move out with it. And Hyilix has not moved out yet. They've been building balloons, just chilling. So this is good for Chesire. Now, well, let's see. If Hyilix doesn't move out, then Chesire absolutely will see the boar eventually and can start. Oh no, but Chesire is
oh no, this mole attack is not very fortunate. The boar comes in.
Oh no,
this is waiting to happen.
This is gonna be a nightmare for Chesire. Let's see, lots of skunk gas. All those mole warrants just getting annihilated. Chesire trying to micro back.
Never dying now.
Yeah, that's a dead wolf, unfortunately. Oh no, maybe he lives.
There's just not enough damage on the board now to kill the boar,
no.
Especially not with pigeons supporting it, so
yeah.
I don't think that boar is ever going to die, and it's just going to keep rolling through Chesire's base.
Yeah, you really got to have the burst.
Good game.
Yeah, you got to have the burst damage from the falcons or the snake poison or something. Unfortunate for Chesire. I think the story of this game really was just not being prepared for that boar and just barely missing on the scout too. That was rough.
The scouts were definitely very, very sad to watch.
All right.
I got a tear in my eye seeing that one.
I can relate because I lose all the time to tier 3, just randomly showing up when I'm not ready for it. All right, are you ready for match number 4?
I do want to point out the freak here in chats. Freak Morris said, "I want that boar's health insurance," and damn right, do I want that too.
He's got European health coverage, not American, that's for sure. Are you ready for game number 4?
Damn right.
Let's do it. Oh, 3, 2. Oh shit! I just launched it. I'll wait for you. Let me know when you're in.
All right, I'm in.
All right, let's do it.
In the right corner, we have Hyilix.
Hey, up top, Chesire, adding a Badger to the mix this game. Meanwhile, Hyilix changing up the deck pretty heavily.
Speaking of damage to kill a boar, there's the Badger.
Yeah, that is very
Wolf
true.
Badger, a classic combination.
I think what makes Tooth and Tail so much fun over all these years is like just the map gen. You know, look at this map. This is so dumb. Like, the vast majority of the map is just a big nothing burger. And then there's like one mill in the south. And then it's just like so many mills face to face. Like, their territory is almost touching. Like, this has got to be an aggressive game.
It is. Well, there is some potential for 2-base play and no rush till 20, you know? But it really just depends on if Hyilix wants the base down south and if Chesire will just take the base right next to a starting base.
Yeah, and what's cool too is that these players are using defensive structures, so we might see some mills get taken to like throw a balloon or a turret on the front lines. That's always fun, but man, these rush distances are so short. I think that we're just going to be railing tier 1, maybe get a raccoon out or something. But to your point, this south base, I mean, that could be a good ninja.
I barely feel like they even have to expand the territory to build on the front lines.
Yeah, it's literally, they could do it right now. I mean, it's like right there. This is a weird choke, though. If you look closely at kind of the tree line here, it's like a little bit of a low ground, kind of in the middle of these 4 grist mills. That's going to be awkward, actually. Like, skunks are really gonna enjoy that.
Indeed, not only skunk structures as well. Absolutely love a little pit like that. That's really hard to see through.
Yeah, and speaking of siege, ferrets on the way here for Hyilix. I actually like the ferret play a lot. Ferrets are kind of similar to what they've always been, right? Like, not really a meta unit, but in the right hands, in the right situation, can be very punishing. But, you know, since the turret can be placed on the front lines, it's very easy for that ferret to go in, poke, run back to the safety of the turret. But Chesire moving in right now with a skunk and a few squirrels.
Ooh, I think this is beneficial for the skunk player if they can dodge the ferret shots, but 2 squirrels are already getting down to it. This is not looking too good.
Yeah,
A little bit unfortunate for Chesire here, but the option, I do like the Chesire's attack here. I do think it was possible to make it happen. But 2 MGs, not happening again.
Oh my gosh, when the territory gets expanded, you put those MGs behind those trees? Ugh, that'd be so strong. All right.
That'd be a little bit disgusting.
I love a good ferret poke, so let's see if Hyilix can pull it off here. Needs to start... Oh, look how far forward he can make those turrets, bro.
Oh,
that is so
he can
crazy.
just bypass the pit entirely.
Yeah, just put it right as far up as you can. And
ferret shots, there's just no room to dodge ferret shots in, but the commander goes down, which could matter a little bit here.
And Chesire going for a Badger, so Hyilix needs to pump up the jams, man. He needs to get in there and get really aggressive. Sell these turrets, build them on the front lines, and start going to town. Otherwise, Chesire is just going to win with this surprise Badger.
I do really want to see some of the left click with the ferrets. Just move them up here, get some poke in, get some stuff done with them.
Yeah. I think that it's similar to the first game where with like Hyilix is just being a little too passive with his unit composition.
I especially feel like that if you're going to build ferrets, you 100% need value from them through poke.
Oh yeah.
Because they don't really win. Oh, almost. They don't really win a direct fight, so
right.
I really do want to see the ferrets go and get some value.
Yeah, ferrets make you win the fight before the fight ever happens. Yeah, it's a very good point. Like, you gotta think about how much you invested $240 into those ferrets. You need to get $240 worth of value out of them. And that's gonna happen before the engagement happens. You need to be poking, you need to be killing squirrels, picking off warrens, that kind of stuff. But man, I feel like a doomer a little bit, but I think that Badger's just gonna come in and roll Hyilix over.
Is possible for it. There's a little bit of sustained damage through the MGs, but I don't think that's going to be enough to take down the Badger here. And now, see, this is what I wanted to see from the ferrets here.
Yeah.
They took down a Squirrel Worm that's 60 food in the bank. Oh, and here comes the Badger, though. There's no healing for the Badger. There's no pigeons, but can that be enough? It seems like it. The whole army just crumbles immediately to the Badger's damage. The MGs go down, and the Badger's just going in. Oh, the Commander drop, though.
Oh! Does the turrets do enough? Oh, with the Raccoon! Oh, he gets him! The Badger dies. And now...
Hero Raccoon, go! Hero Raccoon!
Yeah!
Hero Raccoon!
Oh my god.
Raccoon is a hero.
Oh, dude. Give him a medal, for sure. Sign my mousepad, Raccoon. And you know what? Hyilix is in a great position now. Chesire is really is reinvesting in the Badger. So really hoping to buy some time for another Badger, but just goes to show you, without the pigeons, the Badger and the pigeons are a match made in heaven. You gotta have them together. They're peanut butter and jelly. And
I mean, the pigeons would have certainly helped, but I think the real disaster here was the Commander death on Chesire's part.
Absolutely.
That Badger is just not coming up again in time here, and I think that will be GG's, and Chesire will have to resign.
Oh yeah, even targeting down the Warren there. All right, Hyilix is gonna take our first match, 3-1.